Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading the Gatekeepers series. So this is a 5-book series that is like fantasy, horror, thriller-ish. And I've seen like 2 titles for this series, so like the Gatekeepers, but also the Power of 5. So, it's one of those names, but I like the Gatekeepers best, I think. And I actually decided to read the series because one of my best friends gave me like the first 3 books because she had them, like physical books, because she had them, but they were not really her vibe. But in the way that she described it, they definitely sounded like they were my vibe because they sounded like creepy and unsettling, and that is like 100% my vibe. So I was like, I'll gladly take them because that description definitely got me excited. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so I am on page 122, which is like pretty much halfway through. I think it's like 53% into the first book, which is called Ravensgate. And we are following a 14-year-old boy called Matt. And at the beginning of the book, he is going to rob a warehouse with like an older boy. Like he's being pretty much like influenced, peer pressured into going to rob that warehouse. And I mean, the other boy is called Kelvin, I think, and he is 17. And when they are there, like Kelvin tells him that it's gonna be so easy, like there is no security, there are no like cameras, there's no anything, and they're gonna be like fine, and it's gonna be super easy. And when they do get into the warehouse, there is actually a security guard that finds them. And I mean, he finds like Matt specifically, and Matt is like, oh shit, I fucked up. And then Kelvin actually stabs the guard, and he does not die, but like he goes to the hospital, and the police gets there, and Kelvin and Matt are taken by the police. And like I said, the security guard does not die, so he does say that Matt was not the one that stabbed him, but he had still like gotten into the warehouse and was still like stealing. So obviously he is still in trouble, and he is like, he's living with his aunt because his parents died in a car accident 6 years ago, I want to say. And well, his aunt like never really wanted him, and there's like this new program where kids are placed in like foster homes, I'm assuming. Like I'm reading this in Portuguese, so I'm like trying to translate what it says, but I'm assuming that's pretty much it. And so Matt is sent to a foster home, and it's like supposed to be like away from like big cities, and like he goes to a farm in a really small town, and he's supposed to like help out with the farm. And yeah, he is there, and like his foster mom is really creepy, and also like she might have made a guy kill himself while she was going to get Matt, because there was a guy that was gonna like rob her, and then he just turned up like dead, like that he killed himself, but like in a weird, like really weird way. So yeah, she might have made him kill himself, controlled him like somehow. But anyway, while Matt is there, he like on the first night pretty much, like he has a dream that I'm assuming was not a dream, where like his foster mom and another woman are like around him, and they're saying that he like has pneumonia, and like she's saying, he's telling the other woman to like save him, and she gives him like snake's blood. And then like he wakes up supposedly 3 days later, pneumonia free, and just feeling like stronger and better than he ever has. And he also has like a dream at some point later about like the 4 other kids, because this is like the power of 5. And we learn from the beginning of the book that there are like 5 kids supposedly, and it's 4 boys and 1 girl. And when he dreams, there are like 3 other boys and 1 girl. So yeah, I'm assuming they're obviously the other 4 kids. And he is like, one day he's like out in the town, and he's warned by some guy that he should leave that place, like he's not safe there. And like he tries to leave, but he can't. Like he tries to, keep going on a straight line on a road, but he ends up going back like to the same place where he was before. And so he cannot leave the place, and he also gets like lost in the forest. Like he enters, and then like there's no way out, and he finds that guy again, the one that warned him, and he tells him that like he's going to explain what's happening on the next day, and he helps him find the way out of the forest. And then on the next day, when Matt goes to find that guy and like talk to him, he is like dead, like brutally murdered. And like before he died, he managed to write Raven's Gate, like with his own blood. And so now Matt is trying to figure out what Raven's Gate is. But like he can't find any mention of it like anywhere, and no one seems to be able to tell him what that is. And then after that, we get a chapter from like some other people's POV, and they are, again, I don't know if the like original name is like the Nexus, but from what was written in the book, I'm assuming it was the Nexus. And yeah, they're saying that the Raven's Gate is like about to open, and that like they know about Matt. They don't want to like go out and find him themselves. They think that it should be Matt finding them. And then the very last thing is that the cop who like arrested him and all that, like he goes to like check how Matt is adapting to the life in the foster home, and he sees that, he's not adapting well. He is like being abused, and he's not being treated well. And so he tells Matt that he's gonna come back in the next day and like get him out of there, because there's like paperwork that needs to be done to get him out of the foster house. And then like on the way, like out of there, he has a car accident and dies. And that is like where I'm at. And this book definitely has like a very creepy, unsettling vibe, because it has very creepy, unsettling people. Like everyone's really fucking creepy. And honestly, like the writing like feels kind of awkward, but I don't know if it's because I'm reading in Portuguese, and like reading anything in Portuguese, like it always sounds awkward to me. So like it might be that, like it might be the translation. But yeah, like I'm enjoying it, but I feel like not enough has happened for me to be halfway through the book. And I mean, I know it's only 122 pages, but it's still half of the book, So I just feel like it's going a little slow. And also I don't really particularly like Matt. I don't like hate him, but I also don't really love him. And yeah, like I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely loving the like unsettling vibes, absolutely loving the atmosphere, and I am definitely like intrigued about what the hell is happening, but I'm not like obsessed, I'm not like absolutely loving it. And yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so I have finished Raven's Gate, and in this second half, Matt is attacked and he's like dying, and then a guy that he met in the first half of the book actually saves him, and the guy's called Richard. And then Matt tells Richard about like everything, including the fact that he can like kind of foresee things that are gonna happen. Like he saw his parents' car accident before it happened, and so he definitely like has powers, which is not news, which is not surprising considering he's one of the five. But he's got powers. And then Richard and Matt, they go to an author's house, but they actually meet her daughter, and her daughter is part of the Nexus. And so after that, they finally learn, they and like me, we finally learn what the Raven's Gate is. And so Raven's Gate is basically a gateway that leads to another reality, an alternate reality. And there was like a civilization a long time ago that's like, they're called the Old Ones, and they like thrive on chaos and war. And a group of 5 kids, 4 boys and 1 girl, like they led their resistance against the Old Ones, and they vanished them through the gates. And even though like the rocks of the gate themselves have been destroyed, the gate still exists, and there are people trying to open them, which are the people from like that town that Matt was in, and they need a sacrifice. and the sacrifice of a child would be better to open the gate. And then they are attacked again, and Matt is like taken by those people, and like they are gonna use him to open the gates, and like he manages to protect himself from like being killed, but the guy still gets like his blood, and so they're opening the gate. And we actually get a glimpse into one of the old ones, but then Matt uses his powers and like he doesn't let that being come out, and like the gate is closed and supposedly destroyed. And you know, that seems to be it, but it's obviously not it because this is the first book in a 5-book series. And so at the end, they are visited by a guy from Peru that says that there might be another gate in Peru, and that is pretty much how it ends. And overall, my thoughts kind of remain the same. I mean, I think I am liking Matt a bit more now, and I definitely like his dynamic with Richard, and I like Richard himself. They are pretty fun. And so yeah, like I was invested, I was interested, but I was not like obsessed with it. But it was, I think, a good introduction to this series, and I am definitely very excited to keep going. But I think I'm going to give this one 3.5 stars. And then I am gonna get into the second book, which is called, I think, Evil Star, like originally Evil Star. And I will get halfway through that and get back to you. Okay, so I am around 50% into Evil Star, and we start off with this book with Matt's aunt being like influenced by something, which I'm guessing are like the old ones, and she is being told to basically kill Matt. And while she is like getting ready to kill Matt and like getting on her way, Matt and Richard are struggling, and like they're struggling to adjust to their, you know, new life together, and like Matt's new life at school, and also like Richard's new job. And Matt, like he is struggling a lot at school, like no one really likes him, and he's also like still dreaming about the other kids, like the other of the 5. And they also learn about a diary. I think it's someone from the Nexus that tells them there is a diary that might say where the next gate is, like where it's gonna open. And so they want to get that diary, and there is a guy like who has it, who's willing, you know, to talk to them and to sell it to them. And then we have like Matt's aunt actually like trying to kill him, and like trying to kill the whole school, like everyone in the school. She was like gonna blow it up, and he can't. I think I said this in the other book that he can like foresee the future, so like he saw it happening before it actually happened, so he was able to warn everyone and save everyone, including himself. And his aunt does die there, like during her attack, and then they go meet with the guy that has a diary, and he wants to talk to Matt specifically because he knows, like from what he read in the diary, that Matt is one of the 5, and so he wants to talk to Matt specifically. And he is talking to Matt, but then he says that he needs like proof that Matt is actually one of the 5. And so he asks him to go like get something from a certain specific place. And while Matt is gone, there is another guy that wants the diary, who was sent by the bad guy of this book, that actually kills the guy that had the diary and takes the diary with him. And so when Matt gets back, the other guy's dead and there is no diary. And so they are sent to Peru to go meet with the guy from the Nexus that talked to them in the end of book 1. And soon after they get to Peru, they are attacked. Richard is like taken by the people who attack them, but Matt escapes, and then he meets a boy that he realizes is one of the boys that he dreams with, so he's also one of the 5. And his name is Pedro, and like Pedro doesn't speak English and Matt doesn't speak Spanish, so they can't actually, you know, communicate, except in the dreams. In the dreams they can communicate, and so they make like all their plans during the dreams. And so they are gonna try to, you know, they're trying to survive, first of all, because there are people after them. And also Matt wants to find Richard and make sure that he is okay. And that is pretty much where I'm at. And yeah, I think I'm liking this one more than the first. I am definitely liking Matt more. And also we're having more action scenes, so I am appreciating that as well. And I also like that we have met another one of the five, and I also really like Pedro. And he says that he doesn't have any powers, but like I doubt it, because isn't he supposed to have powers? So I'm guessing he does have powers, we just haven't found out about them yet, or he hasn't found out about them yet either. And yeah, like I said, it has more action scenes, and it makes you feel like it's more fast-paced, even though I feel like it is actually not. It's like as fast-paced or like as slow-paced as the first book, but it feels more fast-paced. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued about the like bad guy. I think his name is something Salamanda, and I'm intrigued about him. He sounds very creepy and scary, and I'm intrigued also about where the hell Richard is. And yeah, I'm excited, and I am gonna finish it and get back to you. Alright, so I have finished Evil Star, and Matt and Pedro go to the house of the men they think have Richard, but they are found and they are attacked, which, I mean, was obviously gonna happen because that guy had a lot of security. It's the Salamanda guy that I think I talked about, the like bad guy of this book. And yeah, they are found, they are attacked, and they are like running. And then a guy helps them, and it was actually a guy that seems to have tried to help them before. I mean, tried to help Matt before, but Matt thought he was actually like the one attacking him, and he was the one who took Richard. And he took Richard and was trying to take Matt because he was actually trying to protect them from like the people that wanted to hurt them. And they're like running, but that guy, like, he gets shot and dies, but before he dies, he tells them to go to Cusco. And like they get there, they get help, and then they contact someone from the Nexus. But the person they contact from the Nexus was actually like working against the Nexus and with that Salamanda guy. And so he tells Salamanda like where they are. And then like Salamanda is trying to open the gate, and Matt goes to try to stop him, but he doesn't manage to. So the gate like actually opens, and the old ones like are out in the world. And Matt is like really, really hurt, and no one even really knows if he's like gonna make it, if he's gonna survive. But it turns out Pedro has powers, which shocks no one. He has healing powers, and he actually like heals Matt, and Matt is okay. But other than that, things are not great. And honestly, like, I love that is like how it ended. Like, it ended with everything going wrong, and I love that. And I definitely like this one, like, in general, more than the first. I like the plot more. I like the characters more. Like, I like Matt more now. And also, I really like Pedro. And I also like the action scenes a lot. The only thing I think I liked more about book one than this was that book one felt, like, creepier, like, more unsettling. I feel like this one didn't have like, such an unsettling, creepy vibe as the first. But overall, I still like this one more, and I really, really liked it. And I think I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. And yeah, I'm gonna get into book 3, which is called, I think, Nightrise, like originally. And this one is the longest yet, but it's still only like 330 pages. So nothing crazy. And yeah, I'm probably gonna read half of this one and tell you how it goes. And like I said, I'm excited because everything has gone wrong, and I mean, that sucks for the characters, but it's great for the plot. Okay, so I am on page 166 of Nightrise, and we have been following 2 twin boys, Jamie and Scott, and they can like read each other's minds, and they're like part of a show, like sort of a circus, and like their performance is to read each other's minds, and they can also like read other people's minds, but they don't really like to do that. so they mostly just read each other's. And so they are obviously like two of the gatekeepers, and a person from the Nightrise Corporation wants to get the two of them, and they are like being taken, but then one of them, Jamie, is saved by a woman called Alicia. And then she tells Jamie that her son has also been kidnapped, he has been taken, because he also had some special abilities. And a lot of kids have been disappearing, kids that have special abilities, because obviously they are looking for the gatekeepers, and so they are taking every child with powers that they can find and to figure out who the gatekeepers actually are. And so they think they find out where Scott is, and also where Alicia's son possibly is as well. And they figure out a way for Jamie to get in there, which is like kind of a prison. And then Jamie is like, his idea is to use his powers to get out of there, like his mind powers. But then he wonders, like, why wouldn't Scott have done that already to leave? And then he realizes that it's because it doesn't work, because when he actually tries to use his powers on like someone from the prison, it doesn't work. And that's pretty much like where we're at. We just learned that someone from the Nexus has learned about the twins, and they want to help them, obviously, but that is pretty much where we're at. And I mean, we also got like a section of a chapter with like the characters that we already knew, like Matt and Pedro and Richard, but it was just like a really small section. But honestly, like, I'm really loving to follow the twins, or like Jamie specifically, because he's the one that we're really following. We just got a little bit of Scott at the beginning. I think I'm liking to follow him more than Matt, and like, I'm having so much fun. The powers themselves are really cool, and Jamie himself I also really like, and the plot, like, I'm invested. I'm kind of obsessed, honestly. I'm having a lot of fun. I care a lot about these characters already. Honestly, once again, more than I cared about Matt in like the first half of his first book. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm gonna finish it and let you know how it goes. Okay, so I have finished Nightrise, and Scott finds out that Jamie is no longer at that prison where he was supposed to be. And then like there's a guy that works there, and he helps Jamie get out. But before like Jamie actually leaves, he wants to find Alicia's son, because like she has been helping him, and he wants to help her too. And so they do find her son, and then they all escape. And while they are like running, escaping, they are attacked, and Jamie is shot, and he's not dying, like he technically does die, and while he's dead, he travels to like the past, to the gatekeepers that existed however many thousands of years ago they existed, like the original ones. And he does like fight in the fights, like the original fights, when they fought the old ones and like banished them. And so he meets the older versions of the other gatekeepers, and so he basically knows that he has to find them, and like he knows that he specifically has to find Matt. And when he like comes back to life, when he wakes up, he and like the other people he's with, they find Scott, and they learn that he's like being used by the Nightrise Corporation to like, he's being used to control people, basically, because they can not only like read minds, they can like kind of mind control people. And so he's being used for that. But they managed to save Scott, and they are like on their way to find Matt and Pedro. And so like now we have 4 gatekeepers together, and the fifth gatekeeper we know is a girl, and in the past life she was called Scar, or like they called her Scar. And in like the end of this book, there is a girl that is called Scarlet, that I'm assuming is like the 5th gatekeeper. And she is the daughter of someone that works at the Nightrise Corporation. So that seems interesting, but that is pretty much how this book ends. and I really enjoyed it. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. But I feel like I liked the first half more than the second, because like the whole part in the past, that was super fun. Like, I loved everything about that. But then the rest of the things that we got in the present, like, I enjoyed, but I wasn't obsessed with. But I still really like the twins. I still really like to get to know them, especially Jamie. Like, we followed mostly Jamie in this book, and I'm really excited to see them like interact with the boys that we already knew and how they're gonna like all be together. And I'm excited to like get to know Scarlet, if she is the fifth gatekeeper, but I'm assuming she is. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what's to come. And I think I'm gonna rate this one also 4 stars, even though it's like a 4 stars that is like slightly higher than the previous 4 stars. Like, technically would be like 4.25, but I don't really rate like 0.25 or 0.75. But like, technically, like, if I did, I guess it would be a 4.25, but let's just say like a high 4 stars. And so I am gonna get into the next book, the fourth book in the series, which is called, I'm pretty sure, Necropolis, which that one I don't like physically own, but I do have it in my e-reader. So I'm gonna get my glasses. Like, I don't even know where they are, but I'm gonna find them, and I am going to read half of that, and I will let you know what's going on. Okay, so I am 53% into Necropolis, and the book starts off with like a document from the like Nightrise Corporation, like the old ones, talking about the 5 gatekeepers and like what they can and cannot do to stop them. And basically, like, they know that they cannot kill them, because if they kill them, like, the ones from the past will take their place, just like Jamie took the place of the like version of him from the past. When he went to the past, it was because the other him had died. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's what happened. So like, if these ones die now, like, the ones from the past will take their place. So they cannot do that. And they know that if the 5 gatekeepers come together, oh my god, what is going on in my hair? They know if the 5 gatekeepers come together, they can create a new gate to like banish the old ones again. So they need to capture them and not kill them, and just keep them like apart from each other. And so in this book, we are mainly following Scarlet, who was that girl that I mentioned appeared at the end of the last book, and she is indeed the 5th gatekeeper, and she lives in London, and she manages to cross one of those gates, just like Matt did in the beginning, like that they can travel to other places. I don't know if I even mentioned that, but there are gates that only the gatekeepers can travel through, and other people, they just like open a gate and it leads to the other side of the gate. But for them, it like magically leads them to another place. And so Scarlet crossed one of those doors, and she like went to a place where there were followers of the old ones, so they caught her, but she manages to escape. Like, with that, she learns about the old ones and the gatekeepers, and that she is one of the 5. And then with all the other characters, they are like all the other ones are together, and they get a visit from a guy that has that diary that they wanted in book 2, I think, that has like all the answers about the old ones and about the gatekeepers and about like all of that. And so that guy gives them the diary, but then that guy is killed, and like all the others are attacked, and another one from their group is killed. A professor that was like, they were staying at her house, she's also killed. And Matt's documents are destroyed, and they decide to like separate like into 2 groups. And so Pedro and Scott are gonna stay, like, they're gonna stay there, and Matt and Jamie are gonna go to London to find Scarlet, because they saw like news about her, and they know that she is the other gatekeeper because they recognize her from those dreams that they have with each other. And so when they get to London, they actually do not manage to find Scarlet, because she was called by her dad to go to Hong Kong, which is where he's working. And we know that he's working for the Nightrise Corporation, and so she is sent to Hong Kong. But when she gets there, like, her dad is actually not there, and the people who like get her they say that he is like traveling, he had to go somewhere from work like last minute, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks. And so she's just there, and she knows that she is probably not safe. She is pretty sure that there is something weird going on, but that is pretty much where we're at. And so, like, the others have not managed to find her, and she is in danger. That's what's going on. And I'm definitely enjoying it for sure. I'm liking to learn about Scarlet and the other boys. Like, I think I mentioned at the end of book 3 that I was like excited to see like the 4 boys together, like their dynamic, but we haven't really seen that much of them. We've mostly been focused on Scarlet, and what we got from them was them just like running for their lives. And I mean, I did enjoy like those action scenes. I'm really enjoying it, but I also definitely want to see more of like all of the gatekeepers together. And yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I am liking the action. I'm invested in the plot. I am stressed because everyone seems to be in danger. And yeah, I'm having a good time, and I am going to finish this and get back to you. Okay, so I finished Necropolis, and Scarlet can't like contact her dad or anyone, and she doesn't have any news from her dad either, and she's being kept by like a woman that we know like she's bad basically. And then she's contacted by someone from the Nexus, and then they kill that woman who was actually a shapeshifter, and obviously like one of the old ones. And then that person from the Nexus is going to take Scarlet to Macau to find Matt. But while they are on their way, Scarlet actually sees her dad, and she like runs to him, but then he simply gives her to the nightrise people. And at the same time, Matt, Richard, and Jamie, they also get in trouble, but like Jamie's mind powers end up saving them. And they're looking for Scarlet, obviously, and they find her dad. And so the nightrise finds them, or specifically Matt. They find Matt. And like Matt and Scarlet meet while they're both being kept captive by the nightrise, and then we learn that it was actually part of the plan for Matt to be captured. And we learned that, I mean, at first we think that Scarlet can predict the weather, and like the old ones in the Nightrise Corporation, they're all underestimating her. But then we learned that she can actually control it. And so they managed to escape, and they are like making it out of the city that is being destroyed, like Hong Kong is being destroyed. And then like the 5 meet, like all of them finally, and then they are like obviously trying to run from the destruction, and they just like rush through a door, and Scarlet is shot. And like that's pretty much how the book ends, which was insane. And in this one I definitely liked the second half more than the first. I thought the like action was much more interesting. Even though I liked getting to know Scarlet in the first half, the second half was like much more interesting. I was like much more invested, and it was just much more fun. I just had a better time in the second half. And we haven't yet really gotten to see the 5 interacting, because they just met, like the 5 of them just met at the very, very end of the book, and then they had to like rush through a door. And that's it. And once again, I think I'm gonna give this like a 4 stars, like a high 4 stars, but I don't think it's 4.5. Maybe like if I change my mind, I will let you know, but for now it's like a high 4 stars. And yeah, I'm very excited and also nervous for the last book, which I think is called Oblivion. And yeah, no idea what's gonna happen, but I'm sure the characters are gonna be in trouble. And also that one is so much longer than all the other books. Like all the other books are 200 something, 300 pages, and the last one is like almost 700, which is insane and it's a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna read that. I don't know, like since it's longer, I don't know if I'll update like halfway through or before, but I'll update when I have like enough stuff to say. So I am 54% into Oblivion, and this book starts off by following a new character, and it's a girl called Holly. And we start following her because Jamie like falls out of a door, like one of those magical doors, and he ends up on her village. And we soon realize that that is like he went 10 years into the future because like the police is looking for the five and like they have a photo, and he still looks the same, but people say that they have been like seeing that photo for 10 years. And we also learned that basically at the end of the previous book, like they were going through the door and Scarlet was shot, and they just like they were rushing through the door and they didn't think of like where they wanted to go. They had no location in mind. So they were just like separated and they got scattered like all over the earth, and they were sent to 10 years in the future. And basically, also the doors don't work anymore. Like now, those 10 years in the future, the doors don't work anymore. And they can really find each other in the dream world. And a woman from that village, like where Holly lives, she calls the police because, like I said, the police is looking for the five. And Jamie finds out because he can like read her mind. And so he and Holly are running, and then a man helps them. And it's pretty obvious that he's working for the Nexus. Then we move on to Scarlet, who is with Richard, and they are in Egypt, and they're like sent into a trap, but like Richard figures it out, so like they're fine-ish until like the last couple chapters that we read with them. They're kind of in trouble now, but like the chapters are also really fun. So like they're in trouble, but I'm having fun. And then Scott and Pedro are actually together. They're in Naples and they are like with people that are followers of the old ones. So they are like prisoners. And the like those followers of the old ones and like the nightrise, they want Scott because they see him as the weakest link, because in book 3, I guess that's when they were introduced, he was like tortured and he's like obviously still struggling with that, so they think that he will be the easier to control. And so basically they promise Scott to like free him and not hurt him and like give him things, and he's basically on their side now. And on the other hand, Pedro, he is helped by a boy that was like working there, basically like not really working for the old ones or like the nightrise or anything. He was just like working there at the place, and he helps Pedro escape. And then finally, Matt, he's in Brazil and he goes to like there's a library at the dream world where like it has books on everyone, and it has like basically their entire history, like their entire life. And so Matt finally reads his own book, and like he knows basically everything that's gonna happen, obviously, and like how he's gonna die. And then he calls all the other ones to the dream world, like they finally meet. And he says that basically they have to go into Antarctica, which is where like the king of the old ones is. And also there is like the doors don't work anymore because there is one there that he locked, and like if any of the doors are locked, like none of them work. So that would be a way for them to use the doors, like go there and open that door. Even though to open that door, someone like whoever opens the door would probably die. So there's that, but that is pretty much where I'm at. And I'm loving this book, and like it was really fun to just be thrown like 10 years into the future and be as confused as the characters. And I'm definitely loving Jamie the most, both like his plot, but also the character himself. And I would say Scarlet is a close second, especially with these last chapters where she is in trouble. Really fun. And then I would say Pedro. I also really like him and like what he's doing, like his plot. And then Matt, I just still never really love him. And lastly, definitely Scott. And like I do feel bad for what happened to him, but also I'm pissed with what he's doing. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely worried about Matt dying because he will probably die very soon. And I mean, he's not my favorite, but I still like him. Like I said, I'm really loving this book. I am so invested and I'm having so much fun. Like it's definitely my favorite, at least like for now. I'm loving like every second of this book. So I am gonna finish it and just tell you what I thought and like wrap up this video that has probably been going on for forever. Okay, so I have finished Oblivion, which means I have finished the series, which is insane. But I think I said that they all had to get to Antarctica. I mean, basically, we start this second half by seeing them trying to get there and like the struggles that they go through to try to get there. And when I say the struggles, like they struggled like a lot. Almost all of them like nearly died. All of them except Scott, because Scott went there with like the people from the Nightrise. And then Matt and Scarlet are like the other two that get there as well. And they join like a group of people that have become like an army, and they are the, I think, World Army, something like that. And they are there to like fight the old ones. And the like commander of that army, he wants to basically attack the place or like the fortress where the old ones are. And Matt and Scarlet and like Richard and Lohan, which is another guy that is with them, they tell him that that's a terrible idea. They are never gonna like win against the old ones because they don't have the 5 gatekeepers there. But he says that like they can because they are like thousands and the old ones aren't as many. So he wants to like attack the fortress, and he does, like the army does that. And obviously, as expected, it goes terribly wrong. Like almost everyone dies. And then Scott sends a message to Matt saying that he wants to meet. And Matt goes, even though he knows that it's a trap, because like I said, he read the book, he knows like everything that's gonna happen, but he goes anyway. And so Richard goes with him, and now like the Nightrise and the old ones, they have Matt and Richard. And like I said, after like their attack goes horribly wrong, everyone decides to just leave, like run away from there. And everyone except for Scarlet, because she knows that Matt was captured, so she's gonna try to get him back. And at the same time, Scott, he's gonna try to open that door that the King of the Old Ones closed, because he's feeling bad about what he's done and he wants to at least see Jamie like one last time. And so he like goes there to open the door, and like he does manage to get it open, but like I think I said, to get the door open, like whoever opened it would die. And so Scott dies, and then the old ones, they're like gonna torture Matt like for forever. Like while he's alive, they're just gonna keep torturing him, and they're telling that to Richard. And so Richard kills Matt as like mercy so he wouldn't be tortured like forever. And so Matt and Scott are both dead, but as we know, if the gatekeepers died, they would be replaced by the original gatekeepers. So the original Matt and the original Scott, they appear, and now that the doors are open, Jamie and Pedro manage to join them as well, and now like the 5 are together, and with all of them together, like their powers are magnified, so they fight the old ones, and obviously they win, and the old ones are gone, and like the world is saved. And they, in the end, like the 5 decide that they're gonna go like into the world of dreams. And like in the very end, we see like the stories being told by Holly, like the girl from the village where Jamie went to, and she says that she, like when she dreams, she can visit the world of dreams now, and so can Richard. And she thinks that the 2 of them, like they're gonna end up there as well. And yeah, that's pretty much how it ended. And like I really, really love this book. Like I loved every second of it. And it was definitely like much longer than the other ones, but I feel like it was necessary to be that long, because we just got to follow all of the characters a lot and just got to connect to all of them like more, and I really enjoyed that. And at the same time, the plot was absolutely amazing. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and like I was invested, I was stressed, I was worried, and yeah, I loved it. Like I said, I loved every second of this book, and I gave it 5 stars. And now let's just go to my final thoughts about the series in general. So starting off with the characters, like I usually do, Jamie was definitely my favorite character ever since he showed up at the beginning of book 3. Like I loved following him, I love his character, and I always loved like his plot, like what he was doing. He's definitely my favorite. He was my favorite from the beginning of book 3 when he appeared, and he remained my favorite until the end of book 5. And Scarlet and Pedro were definitely like close second and third in terms of my favorite characters, and I also really like them since they showed up in the books, and also really liked what they were doing. And Matt, like, I liked him, but he was never my favorite. I never really like love him, you know. I think I mentioned, especially in the first book, that I didn't really love him, and I definitely started liking him more in the second book, but he never got to a level where I was like, I love this character, like I am so invested in his life. Like, I was invested in his plot, in what he was doing, but him, like himself, not so much. And Scott as well. I feel like, I mean, Scott had that whole issue of, you know, being obviously traumatized by what he went through, and so he was used by the old ones in the nightrise. And at the same time, we didn't really have enough time with him to connect with what he was thinking and what he was feeling, because in his like introduction book, we spent almost the entire time with Jamie, so we never really got to know Scott that well. And the fact that the two gatekeepers that died were the ones that I liked the least, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. And the plot overall, I really enjoyed it. And it definitely got better as it went along, like in my opinion, because we started with a 3.5 star book and we ended with a 5-star book. So I just got, I mean, I was like invested from the start. I was interested, I was intrigued, but I definitely got much more into the story as the books progressed, as the plot progressed. But I still have to say that the first book was definitely the one that had the most like unsettling atmosphere, which I really love. That was the thing I loved the most about the first book, was like the really creepy atmosphere of that book. And I think that one was the only one where I felt that way. But everything else I liked more in the other books, and especially the pacing. I felt like the first one was pretty slow, and then the others, like, I liked the pacing much more. And like the last one was insane, even though we had like some slow moments to just like get to know the characters better, like connect with them, which was definitely very needed, I think, in my opinion. And like, despite those slow moments, like everything else, when there was action, like, it was intense and insane. And I had a lot of fun with this series, especially with the last book. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this series. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that is it. I'm very happy that I read the series, and I definitely would not have read them if my friend had not like given me the first 3 books. So this is all thanks to her. And yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!